be recorded.
So, Christopher, I'm curious if you would share with me your thinking around how embodied empathy and playback are different.
Great question. So I see them as very much aligned in terms of their basic principles. But while playback theater entails years of study, and it's a performance art that's done as part of an ensemble, embodied empathy can be learned more quickly and be used as an individual for people's personal relationships and in people's work life. Um, for anybody who's looking to incorporate into their empathetic listening more embodiment, more creativity, deeper other ways of connecting that are drawing from other parts of themselves. So that's true in playback, but there's a simplicity to embodied empathy where people can learn things immediately and start applying them.
Great. I
So
love that. Yeah, I mean, I have always thought of playback as embodied empathy. I have always explained it that way to people, particularly people in the MVC world that I was working with over the last couple decades. So, actually creating it as a separate practice and extrapolating the expressiveness that we use in playback without having to learn different short forms and having to work ensemble, and it's not a performance, and all of that seems like a wonderful way to tap into the power that a performance does have for people and why they feel so seen and heard and wow, you get me. And if we can do that with each other and also free up that it brings a more playfulness and a more aliveness into a relationship.
well
So
said. I would also add that in playback, there is not only some performance anxiety of meeting certain standards that people in the playback world can basically support. This is playback, whereas embodied empathy, people can adopt it and do it in their own way without having to meet a certain standard. But that also there's the ritual inside playback, if it's loosened up even more, it can become even more colloquial and so even more natural for people to do it in their own style. So instead of having to say, let's watch at the beginning of each thing, there's this ritual in playback, which really supports playback and performance. But when we're just the two of us together, I don't have to say, let's watch. I can just step into it in a way that just feels natural to me. It might be just taking a breath and being present.
yes, I also really appreciate all of those thoughts and feelings regarding it because I've always been a proponent of playbacks for everyone, and it's not so precious, and we can relax around it. And yes, ritual is lovely. I appreciate it's the intersection of ritual and art and creativity and giving people an opportunity to practice this in little breakout dyads is really lovely because I suspect that for a lot of people, even though it's not a performance, there's still going to be some anxiety about being that expressive. But once you've done it and you have it had it done for you, it's like, wow, that wasn't really that hard.
Well
Yeah.
said. Let's pause our recording.